The Headless Ghost Man. I'm 20 years old as I write this story. What I'm about to tell you happened to me and my brother when I was about 11 or 12 or 13, and he was about 16 or 17. We had just moved into a house inside the city limits of our town, and my brother and I would sit on the front porch every night to talk. One night, as we were both standing out there, we glanced towards the steps and looked right at each other with a scared look on our faces, as we both seen the same thing. What we saw was a man standing there, without a head. We knew it was a man because he was wearing a blue long-sleeve shirt and some blue jeans, and his body was that of a man. When we looked at each other, he asked me if I had saw that, and I said yeah. And he asked me what I saw, and I told him a man with no head. And I told him to describe what he was wearing, so I could believe that we were seeing the same thing, and he described the man to me just as I had seen him. We ran inside and told our parents, who of course didn't believe us, but we were scared shitless. The following week I was in my room and had my windows open during the day, and I saw a man pass by the window wearing the exact same clothes as the Headless Man, and I ran outside, but since it was such a quick glance, I didn't think of it being the Headless Man until I got outside and saw no one. I thought it was my dad, but he was still at work. Not very scary, but at the moment, it sure was. Headless Ghost. I am a teenager, but I'm about to tell you is not a lie or a joke. I take ghosts and ghost hunting very seriously. This story gives me chills every time I talk about it. At the time, I was 15. My room is next to our living room and a little diagonal from the kitchen. So from the right angle, I can see into the kitchen from my room. One morning, I woke up with dark still filling my room, because of the time only being 5:30 a.m. I needed to use the bathroom, but sat on the edge of my bed for a while to let myself wake up before I stood up. I still don't know why, but I just had the urge to look into the living room and the kitchen area. I saw a male figure walking back and forth past the kitchen doorway and into the dining room. I just sat there in fear that if I moved, it would somehow know I was there. Then I realized that there was no head attached to the body, which wore a blue zip-up hoodie and jeans. It continued to wander as I was watching it, wide-eyed. The scary part was when it started to walk towards my room. I quickly rolled back into bed. Like a little kid, I pulled a cover over my head. Sweat began to form on my head. I was the only one on that floor, because my parents' room is on the second floor, and my brother was not living with us. Another story that I think is the same man is the summer between 7th and 8th grade. I heard something almost every night. My parents would either be in bed upstairs, or my dad would be out of town and my mom in bed. So I dreaded nights because I was alone. I stayed up late, sometimes until I was so exhausted that I would go to sleep right away and not hear anything. It was always the same place and thing. The kitchen has a door that leads to the basement, and also a door leading to the outside. I would watch TV and sometimes hear someone or something slam the outside door and stomp up the steps. Sometimes the locked doorknob would jiggle like someone was trying to get in. A few times I thought someone had broken in, but this used to happen in the winter also, with fresh snow and no footprints in the snow. As I type this, I feel like someone's watching me, but usually it's pretty quiet now. I grew not to fear them. They're just people. The Headless Soldier. I live in a village in Antipolo. That is where the generals and other high-ranking officers retire. This happened when I was about 14 years old. My friends and I were camping in an empty lot that night. We love ghost hunting together. Just beside our village is a haunted village wherein only few houses are there, and not all of those houses are occupied. Inside this village is a long street, surrounded by trees and weeds. We decided to go there this time. While walking through that very street, I felt something. I turned around quickly and that's when I saw it. I saw a white figure behind us. I asked the other people if they had seen the white figure behind us. One of them looked back and was terrified and ran as fast as he could. Surprised and terrified, we all ran as well. Outside the village, I asked that same guy what did he see in that moment. He said that the figure he saw is a white lady and had already started moving towards us. After that incident, we never came back to that same street. Back at the camp, everyone already started sleeping. I was the only one who was still awake. I couldn't sleep. I don't know why. So I decided to go home and check if someone is already awake to open the door for me. I checked the door and peeped inside the house, and everyone was still asleep. So I stayed outside and waited for the sun to rise. Suddenly, I felt an urge to look at my right. And that's when I saw it. I saw a soldier around 100 meters away from me, walking and swaying side to side like a drunken person. It is unusual to see a soldier drunk that still has his uniform on because it's a huge disgrace to his superiors. I wanted to know who the soldier was, but it was so dark and far I couldn't see his face. I blinked to make my sight sharper, and in not more than a second, he moved from 100 meters away to 70 meters away from me. His body movements were faster this time. His sway had gotten faster. Curious about the soldier, I managed to walk closer to the soldier. I still couldn't see his face. And I blinked my eyes again. Another blink of my eye. He managed to move around 10 meters away from me. His body movement looked like he was in a hurry or something. His sway was even way faster and faster than before. Then I finally noticed that this soldier that I'm trying to see didn't have a head. I ran back to camp and never looked back. There, I waited for the sun to rise. I asked one of the old guys in our village, and he said that the village used to be a burial ground way back in the Japanese era. For all we know, Japanese soldiers are known to cut their enemies' heads off. Hope you enjoyed my story. Feel free to add comments. Helis Man Wolf. I had this particular experience a few months ago, so some of the details are a bit foggy. That being said, the vision or experience was very clear. I went to sleep like normally. I usually leave the TV on with low volume because I like the background noise. I recall waking up and seeing my room as I left it before I fell asleep, but it was still nighttime, maybe around 1 to 3 a.m. I only got a brief moment to look around, as my vision was immediately focused on the ceiling above my bed. As I was looking at a headless man, accompanied by a white wolf or a dog by his side. His left, my right. The headless man made minimal movement aside from pointing at me. The dog, however, sniffed at me briefly and silently barked. I've had sleep paralysis events before, so I wasn't too scared to be immobilized and non-talking. What was surprising was that I've never felt in danger. And within a split second of seeing the Headless Man and the wolf dog, I felt as ease, almost as if with a friend or protector. When I actually woke up, I was happy because I wanted to believe that the Headless Man and the wolf were sort of guardians. I'm curious to know if anyone has experienced anything similar or is aware of any symbolism of a Headless Man and our white wolf dog.